Clamp resist is everybody's favorite shibori technique when you don't have much time. Now, in saying that, I just made it sound easy, which indeed you will get some results quickly, but doing it well can be very challenging. Essentially, you're going to be folding your fabric, sort of channeling your inner kindergartner. Remember when you used to fold paper to make paper snowflakes? Well, that's the same thing here, only this time you're folding fabric. And this is where you need those wooden pieces, that you need two of the same shape and size to go on either side of the fabric, and I'll be demonstrating that shortly. So here, I'll let you guess what the shape was that made this pattern. Now, if you want to go really low tech, forget about wooden pieces, forget about plastic clamps, which if you haven't already received them, I'll be giving you some in person. You can use clothespins. And what you see here is the result of simply folding fabric and using clothespins. I'd recommend plastic ones instead of wooden ones because wooden ones will soak up the indigo, and if you want to reuse them, then they may cause marks on your fabric. This is another example of clamp resist, and why I really wanted to show it to you is that sometimes it is a little tricky to know what the shape was, what that wooden shape was that was used to do the resist. And here at the bottom of this scarf, you can see quite clearly that it was a cross type shape. But if you look more towards the center of the scarf, then it becomes obscured, and we start thinking about the blue here being the positive and thinking, oh yeah, they used a square. But in fact, that's not true. Okay, we've seen some clamp resist dyed textiles. Let's see how to do it. The next thing we're going to do is a clamp dye. So I've got my piece of fabric, and you can see it was folded. Just open it up. Now I actually ironed this because I do find that if you iron it and get really crisp creases, you often get better results. And what you need is something to, again, resist the dye. And in this case, we can use shapes. Whatever you have, you must have two of them. Butterflies. I would encourage you to stay away from butterflies. Here I got dragonflies, things that are a bit kitschy, just because it will look like you went to Hobby Lobby, Michael's, and got some shapes. So if you have access to a wood shop at home, you can cut your own shapes. The main thing is that the clamp has to fit. So let's say I was going to use these circles. I need to line them up in my cloth and then the clamp. So in terms of wood, you're probably not going to use plywood because then the clamp would barely fit. So I think two would be secure with this. And this whole thing will go into our indigo vat. I'll still wet it before I put it in, but that's actually, I think I'm going to do something else other than that. You don't need to have fancy shapes. You could even use popsicle sticks or those craft type sticks. I'm going to try this. I guess the main thing that you want to think about is not having something that's so huge that's totally full of clamps that it won't fit in your dye bath. And I might put, let's see, maybe I'll try one more thing. And the resist, this piece, even though it's not entirely on the cloth, I can still put it there. I just need to be sure that the clamp, so you see what I mean when I say it's not covering the entire thing. There. And this is what goes into the dye bath. And this is called clamp resist. It's pretty much as close as we're going to get to immediate gratification, but I would still encourage you to try the Stitch Resist, especially with the time that we have. That's the kind of thing you can do when you're just listening to a podcast or whatever. But when you got to get something done quick, then maybe this will solve your problems.